and again theatre. The main character, Lisa, had very poor eyesight. It prevented her from moving to the beat, but improved her intuition and her hearing indeed. Now let's move on and throw the sentence bridge to the right direction. The story about actors, theatre, hypnosis, director, etc., and so on embraces the main action. We will neither leave unattended the pragmatic mind's games and the soul's romantic passion. Perhaps here, on this phrase, I will end my introduction. The dancing hall spins and sings and rejoices, and luck itself comes when the soul dances. Obliging Paki kisses your toes, lights play on the walls when the soul dances. I would have danced all the night, spinning in harmony of sounds. Let you not be 25, for your rhythmic energy abounds. Who would tell me what's happened to me? Why does life again beckon? It seems like my age is not that young, or there is no age. What do you reckon? All her life, Lisa Chaikina loved moving to music. She could have danced all night, dusk till dawn. It all started with a school disco, and then Lisa danced in her house. She danced to modern disco music in school and to popular music on her mother's vinyl discs at home. She slid spontaneously on the floor to lilac jazz sounds and cheerfully spun to colorful melodies from movies. This was in the past. Since that time, Lisa became an adult. One summer afternoon, she was sitting on the bench in the park, inhaling linden blossom fragrance and eating ice cream. She waited for the evening. Lisa felt like a bird, ready to fly through the whole city to land in a dancing club to dance. It should be mentioned that the club employees started recognizing Lisa, as they always came to watch her performance. Once, even a reporter approached Lisa to interview her. Lisa refused, as she came only to dance. Dancing itself was her joy. She felt excited and intoxicated without any wine. Many years have passed since. Lisa's life has changed dramatically. She lived in another country. For the first time in her life, she got an opportunity to see herself from a side. Her 20-year-old daughter recorded Lisa's dances. Lisa sent recordings to different theaters, and one day she received a reply from a theater director. He invited Lisa for an interview. Thus, in the end of February, Lisa joined the theater troupe for the first time. The troupe seemed not to meet her expectations. So this is our adult theater troupe. Though with British inclusive policy you can expect anything, thought Lisa in disappointment. Dressed in a shabby tracksuit, a short middle-aged man entered the foyer. He appeared to be a theater director. Having picked up the nearest chair, he harshly moved it towards Lisa. Then he introduced her to the troupe. "And where did you meet our director?" asked a lady from the troupe. "On a dating site," promptly joked Lisa without thinking. Later on, Lisa often recalled that inappropriate joke, especially when the director stared at her with his wide-opened eyes. On the first evening, the troupe members went to the rehearsal room to do breathing and physical exercises. The director personally conducted the class. The group members formed a circle, and so, standing in it, they caught an imaginary energy in the air with hands and threw it to each other. If Lisa was late, she swiftly squeezed into that circle, and to her amazement, she always saw, opposite, the director. In his turn, the director, while rehearsing with the troupe, also followed circles, and each time, as if by chance, found himself opposite Lisa Chaikina. So once a week, amateur actors, listening to the music, wandered aimlessly around the hall, until the director handed out the scripts to everyone and told the actors that they would perform on the main stage. During one of these rehearsals, Lisa did not fully succeed. The director got angry and raised his voice. Lisa was upset and almost despaired. A painful feeling shot through her chest and moistened her eyes. Lisa's mood deteriorated sharply, and she ran out of the room. Lisa thought to herself, "Well, again, I was too emotional. Although I really loved these activities, but because of my stupid pride, what a pity. I have no idea what to do." Next day, Lisa was taken by surprise when, despite all her suffering, she received an email with the following content. "Dear Elizabeth, forgive me if I offended you in any way. Perhaps my instructions were not so clear and I did not foresee everything. I really appreciate your personal contribution to our overall acting process. I want to see you at the theatre again. I hope everything goes without incident." Lisa did not know why, maybe because of her wounded pride, but the phrase, "I really appreciate your personal contribution," sounded like a confession of a lover. The soul responded and immediately came to life, like sultry nature comes to life in the evening after a hot and stuffy day. It was strange, as Lisa was absolutely indifferent to the person who sent an email, but she remembered that moment and the director's compliment. Lisa answered, not without cunning, falling into a sentimental mood. "It became stuffy for me to rehearse and I had to leave the room." The director replied, "Yes, it happens, it's all right." Lisa: "Thank you. I'm sending my website link. 3 manifestations of art merged here all together. Fine art, dance, and poetry." The director continued, "I liked your pictures and I started reading your story, that story in English, There is only the beginning. Could you send me the complete story, please? Lisa's soul blossomed and sang, but the brain intervened and stepped on the song with its foot. Don't trust him. You should be cold and reserved. After all, the director is a player. Don't let him play with you. Lisa became silent. The director went silent too. After the silence, the Easter holidays came, and Lisa, with her husband, left the city to go to the countryside to visit her father-in-law. Sheep are scattered all over the place, like white dandelions on a green meadow space. They chew grass, they move freely. There are no wolves in the forest. Sheep had nothing to fear. Soon relatives and guests arrived. Having conveniently accommodated themselves on the terrace, they were talking, sharing news, and sipping their aperitif. But Lisa was in her own world. She reveled in the euphoria of love. All her thoughts were only about the director. That's what the rehearsals did to her. But the brain interrupted her euphoria and ordered, "Let's wait. Let's take a break from emotions and analyze what actually happened. And where did that love elixir come from? And how far did your romance with the director go? And how to restore peace of mind again?" After all, the director as a man was far from Lisa's ideal. So when exactly did their theatrical romance begin? Lisa recollected the day when the director, having handed out scripts, asked the actors to learn their text by heart. Lisa got the role of a German woman, with her memories of the war, of Hitler, pride, faith, and childish sadness. The director probably liked Lisa's text. Lisa read it from the sheet, then repeated it by memory. And while the group was taking their seats in a dimly lit room, the director rushed towards Lisa and, staring into her eyes, repeated with Lisa's intonation her phrase. Time has stopped for Lisa. It looked as if the director gazed at her for too long. He seemed to be rooted to the ground. The brain woke up. And what happened? And what was that? The soul whispered, "Hypnosis?" Brain, that's it. Yes, this is understandable, that the director affects people. Can you explain to me clearly, why does the villain use hypnosis? Soul, well, he doesn't apply hypnosis to everyone, but only to those whom he loves. Soul, in a whisper, the director is disarmed by love for Lisa. Brain, well, if so, he does not need his own brain anymore. The director diligently worked with the actor's movement technique all day long. He walked ahead of the group at a distance, and the group copied his gestures and movements. Suddenly, in front of Lisa, in blue light, the director's shadow appeared. The shadow walked behind the director, 40 centimeters from his body, and shone with a blue flickering flame along the edges. Lisa was not even surprised. She just quickly peered into the faces of the actors, trying to guess if they had seen the same. The director's shadow seemed so real. Or maybe the director set it all up on purpose. Although that assumption almost bordered on mysticism. It is possible that Alexander Kuprin in his novelette Larissa described similar phenomena, though it is just a novelette. But in real life, such visions scare us. It is funny that after that particular rehearsal, the director no longer walked ahead of the whole group and did not turn his back to Lisa. Meanwhile, Lisa watched her favorite movies for fun and avoided communicating with the director. Maybe he was the embodiment of Count Cagliostro, the great adventurer of the 18th century. After the Easter holidays, the theatre sessions were resumed. While rehearsing with the troupe, the director kept paying too much attention to Lisa Chakina. He called Lisa an actress and echoed her phrases with her own intonation. Spiritual euphoria still raged inside Lisa, but yet not on its own, but with the inclusion of a voice of reason. There was no shadow of a doubt that the director was using hypnosis. And in the lobby, after the rehearsal, almost all amateur actors called the director Mr. Hypnotist. One evening, the troupe dispersed around the dim-lit room and sat on the floor with books. Having seized the moment, the director quickly pulled up his chair towards Lisa and asked her to read her text aloud. Carefully straining her eyes, Lisa was reading in the dark. People were looking for each other. Women were dreaming of love in vain, until the dating agency Fortuna was successfully opened one sunny day. Lisa had finished her reading and slowly raised her eyes to the director. But what she saw shocked her. The director's face was gradually losing its outlines. It was blurring away like the sand washed by the waves of the sea. The only detail on the face still flaunted, quickly enlarging in size, suddenly turned into an eye. A huge blue eye. The eye looked without blinking for a split second, then sighed with its eyelashes and dissolved into the air. And instead of it, a face suddenly appeared. Lisa recognized in it a friend from her childhood. But how did he get here? Lisa swam like in a dream, and clearly understanding at that moment that she was under a strong emotional effect, decided not to stop the experiment. Later, Lisa tried to unravel that mysterious action, to be sure it was not a dream. And after a lot of research, she found out that an American psychotherapist, Milton Erickson, subjected his students to similar action during his hypnotic studies. The director continued to talk about his special mission. He mirrored Lisa's gestures and even moved with her almost in unison. Summer came, the theater sessions were over, and Lisa saw a strange dream. Dream about a ship. From the seashore, the barking sounded. Lisa was playing with a white dog. She had lost sense of time and was late for her ship. Lisa was crumpling a ticket in her hands while waiting on the shore, but her ship had left the port without her. Sad and slightly puzzled, Lisa remained on the shore. But then another ship sailed to the port. That was such good luck, and Lisa stepped on deck with her ticket, but the sailors did not let her in. And then the captain of the ship appeared. A handsome and tall brunette he was. The captain quickly rushed towards Lisa and suddenly asked, "Actress?" The sea breeze blew Lisa's hair, and she, trying to fix it, bowed her head low. So, who was that mighty captain, and what was the meaning of her dream? Lisa did not know yet, but she had no doubts that her dream would bring her luck. The time for the show came. The troupe rehearsed now every day. The director praised amateur actors. He taught them how to keep their confidence, how to deal with any anxiety, and leave their fears and laziness behind the scenes. Lisa was preparing for her role. She escaped the reality and plunged into her past. She observed herself at the age of 7 sunbathing by the river with a towel, and her mother picking up berries in the strawberry field. Then she beheld herself running along the forest path, happy and without any worries. Her blue bow was merging with the sky and her soul with a harmonious nature. After all, for the opening line, she needed a quiet joy, peace, and inspiration. It meant that Lisa, as an actress, had to travel back in time. Lisa also recollected how she came to the city from the countryside with her mother. Mom carried a fruitcake. They went straight to the 5-story house. There were bright red berries on the bushes in front of the house. Lisa picked them up and looked forward to play with an empty cake box, cut windows in the box, to build a house for her berries. For another line, she needed sadness, and her memory painted another picture: a pale pink wooden cottage house, summer residents with their buckets by the well, and the small mountain ash tree which grew there by accident. The summer residents put their heavy buckets full of water right on the mountain ash tree, breaking its branches and not allowing it to grow. And Lisa felt very sorry for the tree. The amateur actors played on the stage for 3 days in a row. Everything went well, the dialogues and mise-en-scenes. However, on the last day, the director unexpectedly asked Lisa to stand on the edge of the stage to be closer to the audience. Lisa did just that, said all her lines, standing on the edge of the stage. But suddenly, she started shaking. Nervousness seized her body, and even her brain could not save her. The body did not obey the mind, and shook in front of the audience for about a minute, which seemed like eternity. It is good that this happened at the end of the performance. Trembling a little bit, Lisa ran quickly behind the curtain without bowing to the audience. Why did our hostess glance into the hall? And she looked straight into the eyes of a brunette man. She knew she should not do that, moaned the soul, almost crying at the same time. Well, the director himself asked her to stand on the edge of the stage to be closer to the audience. The pragmatic mind responded caustically. Just before the premiere of the performance, talking with the director, Lisa complained about amateur actors. I have bad luck with them. Do they have poor eyesight? I have to adjust to them all the time. The director: don't worry, they'll be fine. Stage workers are watching the actor's exit, and you should come to the proscenium to speak all your lines, and don't forget to bow. Lisa remained silent, but deep inside she continued to be angry. She did not want to admit to herself that which annoyed her so much. Amateur actors? No, not actors. The director? Not really. The sting of her own jealousy had stung her. The matter was that a young actress participated in the performance, and Lisa was jealous of the director's fondness for her. And realizing the absurdity of the situation, she suffered and kept trying to hide her feelings. That actress played the lead role. The director rehearsed with her often and separately. Meanwhile, in Lisa's soul, a fire of jealousy smoldered, casting a smoky shadow on her mind. Soul, they said about that actress, that the director brought her from, though it doesn't matter, and as if she played in some kind of show. Brain: yes, it's funny. And while our mistress was jealous of the director, a brunette man laid his eyes on her, the one who looked at her all evening from the audience. Soul: yes, when Lisa came to the theater, she was healthy, young, and cheerful. But after 4 months, in the heat of love's euphoria, she began to have mental troubles. And all because of what? Because of love and passion. Brain: even platonic passion strikes the head. Such a misfortune we have to share equally. Soul: indeed, our hostess went through the whole palette of sensations, from love euphoria and torment of jealousy to the point of complete disappointment. Have you noticed that almost all the actors, or rather the actresses of the troupe, also fell under the spell of the director's charm? Brain: so he hypnotized them, or what? Soul: they really completely obeyed his will, especially one lady with a doll face. adoring the director shamelessly, followed him everywhere. Brain. It happens to creative ladies. They are sometimes overtaken by love dope. If I did not take care of our Lisa and did not turn her consciousness on, she would have failed sooner or later. Nevertheless, at the end of the performance, Lisa gathered all her courage and thanked the director. Although it was not easy for her, she did not surrender in front of his magnetic gaze. So, and that brunette who stared at Lisa from the audience turned out to be a famous director, movie director. Brain, that's what it is. There was a theater, and here will be a cinema. So, with just one but, it will be her cinema, the author's cinema. Sometimes, for fun, Lisa writes her future on pieces of paper. Just before her theatrical debut, she pulled out a piece of paper with the words on it. Something very nice, romantic, and almost unreal is going to happen.